It's time again for the Science Bowl.
Zoo Parade for 5. What big teeth the hippo has are actually a pair of these. Science Potpourri for 10. Would a snake most likely eat every day? Every week, Dateline Science for 10. Why are some elephants wearing necklaces these days? Green things for 15.
And now, here's your host, Mr. Z himself, Dave Zarin.
Thank you and welcome to this special edition of Science Bowl. The two teams you're about to meet have played our game once already and won. They're here today to decide who goes on to the quarterfinals to play Berwyn Heights Elementary School. Let's meet the teams now. First from Avalon, would you please say hello to Ariana Elmore, Jonathan LeGrant, and Jamisha Norman. And from Brandywine Elementary, here are Brian Wilson, Brandon Hutchinson, and Malik Addo. And now, here are the categories of questions we use on Science Bowl.
Okay, Mr. Z, here's today's categories. Green things, questions about plants and all things green and growing. Zoo Parade, a Noah's Ark of questions about animals. Body systems, we'll see how much you know about yourself, about things like breathing and growing and digesting your food. Let's get physical. Questions that test your knowledge of physics and chemistry, earth science and space science. Then there's Science Potpourri. Here's a grab bag of science questions, everything from air pollution to the kitchen sink. And finally, Dateline Science. We'll ask you about science history and science in the news.
Here on Science Bowl, our game board shows questions according to their difficulty. The easier ones on the left worth 5 and 10 points. The tougher ones worth 15, 20, and ultimately 25, the toughest of them all. Both of our teams start out at 50 points apiece. No penalties ever for incorrect answers. Then to the 2 rounds, one of these 2 great teams will be back to play our game again, possibly in our quarterfinal matchups. Score for make sure everything works. Let's go to the red team. And Jonathan, try your buzzer. Thank you, young man. Good luck to you, to Jamisa, and to Ariana. And to Brandywine, would you try yours, Brandon? Thank you. Good luck to you and to Malik and to Brian. Are we ready to play?
Yeah.
Let's have a great game. We go alphabetically A before B. Avalon, Jonathan, start our game.
Green things for 5.
Green things for 5 points. Teams The Beast in Beauty and the Beast had to fall in love before the last of these plant parts fell from a rose. Avalon?
Petals.
A petal, that's right. Before the last petal falls. Go red.
Zoo Parade for 5.
Zoo Parade for 5 points. Teams, if you were writing a book about the big pet you had on the island of Komodo, you might call your book How to Train Your What? Avalon?
Dragon.
Your dragon. That's where the Komodo dragons live. For real. Go. Red.
System for 5. Body systems for 5.
Body systems for 5 points. Teams, in literature and in real life, some creatures are missing body parts. Cavefish have no eyes. The Venus de Milo statue had no arms. And Ichabod Crane in the Legend of Sleepy Hollow had no what? He had no what, Avalon?
Legs.
No, he had legs. Ichabod Crane in the Legend of Sleepy Hollow, he had no what, Brandon?
Face. Can I refer to Brian?
Sure can.
Face?
Head. The headless horseman. He was missing his head. Go again. Red.
Let's get physical for 5.
Let's get physical for 5 points. Teams, these ultimate gravity traps in outer space might have a sign that says, "Abandon all hope, ye who enter here." What are they called, Brandywine?
A black hole.
A black hole. You got that right, Brandon. Good. Go.
Zoo Parade for 25.
Zoo Parade for 25. The big one in that category, teams. Listen carefully. This is a multiple choice question. Coyotes and badgers sometimes team up to hunt ground squirrels. That kind of symbiotic relationship is called parasitism, commensalism, or mutualism. Avalon.
Commensalism?
Not commensalism. When the coyote and the badger work together to hunt ground squirrels, it's a symbiotic relationship. Parasitic, mutualistic, or commensalistic.
Mutualistic?
Mutualistic, because both of them derive benefit. They're absolutely right. Good. Green.
All right. Science Potpourri for 20.
Science Potpourri for 20 points. Teams, Johnny Depp played the Mad Hatter in Alice in Wonderland. Hatters, people who made hats, milliners, did go mad back then because they were working with what chemical element? The only liquid chemical element that we associate with thermometers. Avalon.
Mercury?
Mercury, yes. Mercury is very toxic, and milliners oftentimes became somewhat mad because they didn't know how toxic it was. 80 to 80, tie score, go red.
Green things for 15.
Green things, 15 points. Teams, your question is as follows. Snow White would probably have tiny plants in her garden of what variety? Snow White. Avalon.
Flowers?
No. Brandywine. Snow White would probably have tiny flowers in her garden of what variety? Dwarf. Dwarf plants. Go again, red.
Science potpourri for 15.
Potpourri for 15 points. Teams, eating a cupcake gives you empty ones of these that dieters are always counting. Avalon.
Stomach?
Not stomach, no. What do dieters always count? And if you eat a cupcake, these are considered empty what?
Calories?
Calories, that's right. Empty calories, just those wasted, very tasty carbohydrates. Go green.
Dateline science for 15.
Dateline for 15 points. It's a multiple choice question. You probably saw it in the news recently. There was a giant river of sludge that went coursing through the country of Hungary, filled with toxic chemicals that were highly alkaline. In order to lower the pH of that river, did they dump in baking soda, milk, or vinegar? What did they dump in there, Avalon?
Baking soda?
No, no. They were trying to lower the pH of that sludge, which was highly alkaline. So did they dump in milk or baking soda or vinegar?
Milk?
No, alkaline means too basic. What's the opposite of a base? An acid. What's an acid? Vinegar is an acid. Go green.
Dateline for 20.
Dateline for 20 points, teams. It's exactly 5 years ago that this Category 4 hurricane hit New Orleans and southern Mississippi. What was the name of that hurricane, Avalon?
Katrina?
Katrina, that's right. Good, go.
Body systems for 10.
Body systems for 10 points, teams. People who say that ground up rhino horn is good medicine don't know what they're talking about, because it is about as effective as you biting and chewing your own what? Avalon?
Hair?
Hair or fingernails, or if you're so disposed, toenails, but I don't think anybody does that. All right, at the end of this first round, Avalon 105 points, Brandywine right behind at 95. We expected a good match, and we're getting one. We'll be back in just a moment. Hey, nice to have you back. Thank you for being part of our 25th silver anniversary year here at Science Bowl. We're so proud of all the young people who have been on our stage, and the 6 playing our game today are just as good as the ones that started 25 years ago. You are part of a proud tradition, all of you. Avalon, let's go to you first. And we corrected the score because, as Jamisha pointed out, that last question was worth 10 points, so they have 110, not 105. Jonathan, you guys look great over there in your matching uniforms. Avalon, who's your principal?
Dr. Diana Bruce.
Yes, indeed. She's down there. And your sponsor?
Miss Alzate.
Miss Alzate, and she has been working so hard with you. Last year, first time ever, Avalon was on our program. Here you are, our second year. And I visited your school recently. You are temporarily housed in the old Middleton Valley School, are you not?
Yes.
Yeah. When will you go back to your old school?
I'm predicting probably 2 years.
2 or 3 years. So you guys might be gone by then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but where you are now is still a very nice place. Tell me where there are alternates on your team.
DeAndre Vaden, Garrett Lexi, and Jeremiah Gray.
Wonderful. And you were an alternate last year, and the experience shows you play a great game. How do you come by all your science knowledge?
I usually study, learn, and do science experiments and field trips, and then that's when I just put my background knowledge to the teachings.
Perfect. And you told me before what great teachers you have there at Avalon, and you expose yourself to a lot of different experiences, and that shows here. What do you want to do someday, Jonathan?
Be a firefighter, a movie producer, or be in the Army.
Army, all right. A physical guy, an academic, a scholar, you got it all going on. Ariana, nice to have you here, and I pronounced it right that time. I keep wanting to put the A in the front. It's Ariana. Tell us about all the things you've got going on in your life. What do you like to do in your spare time?
Well, I like to rollerblade and I like to read.
And you like to read. And what kind of books you like?
Fantasy and nonfiction books.
Wonderful, wonderful. Why did you want to be a part of this team?
Because last year I watched the Science Bowl It'll look really interesting to me.
Yeah. So is it living up to what you expected it to be?
Yes.
Good, I'm glad. And what do you want to do someday?
Well, at first I wanted to be a scientist and an inventor, but I started to read about chemistry in school sometimes. Yeah. And now I want to be a scientist, an inventor, and a chemist.
Wonderful. And chemistry is so important in so many things we do today. You know, from the food we eat to the clothes we wear to where we live. So good luck to you in that. Jamisha, nice to have you back with us. You have a wonderful smile. You seem like you're having a good time here. You're a good ambassador for Avalon. Why'd you want to be on the show?
Because last year, my teacher, Miss Alzate, who was our sponsor today, she said science was one of my best subjects, and she said she gave me books over the summer and said I should be in the science bowl. So
wow.
I just followed my instincts.
Isn't that a great teacher? She recognized something in you that maybe you didn't know yourself, and you got ready, and here you are, and you're doing a great job. And what do you want to do someday?
Someday I want to be an artist.
An artist. And you want to be a potter, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah, wonderful. You're a great creative person. And Brandywine, nice to have you guys back, and you're matching science ball shirts with all of the lab equipment on there. See, they're used to modeling already because they were here before. I'm glad you've gotten good use out of those shirts, and we hope you can come back many more times. Brandon, tell us about Brandywine. Way down southern portion of the county. Who's your principal?
Principal is Mr. Kuto.
Wonderful. And he's been there quite a while, hasn't he? Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely, yes, and done a fine job down there at Brandywine. And who's the sponsor of your team?
Miss Losi.
Miss Losi, and she's been sending us great teams over many years, and she works so hard, and she's such a great asset to your school, and I know how much you appreciate what she does. And did you have any alternates on your team, Brandon?
We have Jamari Hardy, Irvin Fontaine, and Olivia Bell.
Wonderful, wonderful. And tell us about your future plans.
Well, I kind of want to be a game designer because I've always been interested in games through my whole life. And I thought that it'd be interesting to make my own and see how I did.
Absolutely. So all the things you've seen, maybe you can take the best of them and kind of distill them into your own version. And that's what life is about, using your experience to do something on your own. So good luck to you. You're a good captain, Brandon. And you know an awful lot about science. Brian, you know an awful lot too. You're kind of the quiet guy, but you come up with the good answers there. How do you know so much about science?
Well, my favorite subjects are math and science, so, I like to know a lot about it because the reason I seem interested in science at first is because I seem interested in chemistry, so in college I want to take a chemistry class, and,
You've got something in common with Ariana over here. Both of you have an interest in chemistry. And what do you want to do someday? Do you want to be a professional chemist or scientist?
I really want to be a video game designer, mostly because, what Brandon said, because, I'm pretty interested in games from the time I was 3 years old to now, and it seems pretty interesting to me, and I want to make my own and see how they do.
And that's a good way to learn. It's been proven. You know that if you're challenging yourself and you're playing games, you're learning a lot of skills along the way. Malik, nice to have you with us today. Now you are aiming for straight A's, right?
Yes.
You want to get straight A's in school. What's your biggest challenge? What's your toughest subject?
Probably health.
Health. Of course, health is related to science, and you're doing so well in science, so I would think you'd probably be pretty good at getting an A in that class as well. What do you want to do someday?
Be a football player or a scientist.
Or a scientist.
Be a video game designer.
Okay.
Just because I want my game to be noticed all around the USA if I do become a video game designer.
Oh, so you got big plans. You guys all have the same. You could go into business together. You already got the matching shirts, right? Okay, let's get back into the game. 110 for Avalon, 95 for Brandywine. Lots of points to give away. Start us out. Jonathan.
Potpourri for 5.
Potpourri for 5 points. Teams. Ovo is the name of the Cirque du Soleil performance, all about insects. But Ovo could also be the title of what nursery rhyme character who had a big fall and couldn't be put back together again, Avalon?
Humpty Dumpty.
Humpty Dumpty.
Humpty Dumpty, you're right. All the king's horses and all the king's men, they couldn't do it. Go. Ovo, meaning egg. Go red.
Green things for 10.
Green things for 10 points. Teams, what mighty trees are going to be planted at Ground Zero in New York City? Brandywine.
Oak.
Oak, the mighty oak, absolutely right. An appropriate symbol and remembrance for all those lost lives on 9/11. Green, please.
Green, no, let's get physical for 15.
Let's get physical for 15 points. Teams, the precise times of high and low tides are determined by the gravitational forces of what two celestial bodies? What two celestial bodies, Brandywine?
The sun and the moon.
You got them both. The sun and the moon conspire together, cooperate together to create the tides on Earth. With that, you've gone into the lead by 5 points. Green.
Science potpourri for 25.
Potpourri for 25 points, teams. I believe that one was used already. Judges, potpourri for 20? For 25 is what you want. Is that what you want? All right. Your question is as follows. The best insulating material now for homes is no longer fiberglass, but this D-initialed cotton substance that is used for making jeans. What is it for 25 points, Brandywine?
Denim.
Denim, yes. Denim is now a wonderful insulator that is being used in homes. Who would have thought? Excellent. Go. Green.
All right. Body systems for 25.
Body systems for 25 points. Teams, actor Michael Douglas recently revealed that he is suffering from stage 4 cancer of the pharynx. The pharynx is another name for what body part? For 25 points, can you tell me, Avalon?
The throat.
The throat. You got it. Good answer, young man. Go. Red.
Green things for 20.
Green things for 20 points, teams. In food chains, plants are known as autotrophs, A-U-T-O. They're known as autotrophs because plants can do what? They can do what, Red?
Produce their own food.
They make their own food. That's absolutely right, through photosynthesis. Red.
Body system for, zoo parade for 10.
Zoo parade for 10 points. Teams, fish, insects, amphibians, even some mammals will sometimes eat their own kind, making them known as these. Avalon.
Cannibals.
Yes, they practice cannibalism. Yes. Go. Red.
Let's get physical for 10.
Let's get physical for 10 points. Teams, the Earth is actually closer to the sun in the winter than in the summer, but because the Earth is tilted on its what? Avalon?
Axis.
Axis. We are tilted away from the sun, and the sun's rays are more diffuse, which is why it is so much colder. All right. Go again, Red.
Science potpourri for 10.
Potpourri for 10 points. Teams, to date a mummy, to find out how old a mummy is, you can sometimes use carbon dating, but scientists today are using computerized axial tomography, which is better known by what feline acronym? Brandon.
Cat?
CAT scan, absolutely right. A computerized axial tomography. Good comeback. Go green.
Dateline science for 15.
Dateline for 15. Dateline for 15, I believe we have used that one already, correct? Yes. Choose. For 25, all right. Dateline for 25 points. Teams, the winner of this year's Nobel Prize in Medicine, Robert Edwards, got his award for his discovery of in vitro fertilization, which is a fancy way of saying what? In vitro fertilization. Fancy way of saying what for 25 points, Avalon?
Fertilizer?
No, not fertilizing. Mr. Edwards, Robert Edwards, got the Nobel Prize in Medicine for his discoveries of in vitro fertilization. That is a fancy way of saying what? What do you think, guys?
Being able to fertilize yourself?
No, test tube babies. Test tube babies in vitro, in glass. He was the first one to do that. The first test tube baby, Louise Brown. Now all grown up. Try again, green.
Let's get physical for 25.
Let's get physical for 25 points. Teams, look at the monitor in the studio, if you would, please, for this question. Teams, this is the Vdara Hotel in Las Vegas. It just opened, but they had to close it right away. Because of the curved windows and the reflective surface, it was creating a death ray that was burning people on the ground, much like what kind of glass that kids use. Avalon?
Magnifying glass?
A magnifying glass, yes. So they had to coat the windows so that they didn't reflect as much. Go red.
Dateline science for 5.
Dateline for 5 points. Teams, this is disgusting. Probably one of the best antibiotics ever found that will kill MRSA and E. coli bacteria is found in the brains of ground-up bugs, large insects that we find scurrying around our houses sometimes. Jonathan?
Ants?
Not ants. No, Brandywine, the ground-up brains of what disgusting insects that run around houses?
Crickets?
Cockroaches. Go red.
Dateline science for 10.
Dateline for 10 points. Teams, Michelle Obama, the First Lady, is campaigning against this biggest loser problem among children. Avalon.
Obesity.
That's what I want to hear. Good, go.
Body systems for 15.
Body systems, 15 points. Teams, one of the new biometric IDs is not your fingerprints, but this colored part around the pupil of your eye, which is, yes, Avalon?
Iris.
Iris is absolutely right. Thank you, Jamisha. As individual in its pattern as your fingerprints are. Red.
Let's get physical for 20.
Let's get physical for 20 points. Teams, old rags and piles of newspapers in the attic will sometimes spontaneously combust. Meaning they do what? What do they do, Avalon?
Explode.
No. They
More?
catch on fire.
They catch on fire.
Yes, they burst into flames, they explode. Absolutely. Good, go.
Zuparade for 15.
Zuparade, 15 points. Teams, George Washington supposedly didn't like to smile very much because he had false teeth made from the eye. Avalon?
What?
Nope. Avalon, Brandywine, George Washington's false teeth were made of the ivory of this African river horse animal.
Hippo?
Hippo, absolutely right. Good answer there, Brandon. Go. You can still do this.
Green things for 25.
Green things for 25. Big one in that category. Multiple choice question. Teams, plants don't have eyes or ears, but they do have a nose in the sense. They have openings where gases can be exchanged. Are those openings known as lenticels, Avalon?
Stomata.
Stomata, you got it. You didn't even need that choice. Good, go. Red.
Body systems for 20.
Body systems, 20 points. Teams, you are said to be running a fever if your temperature rises above what number? What number, Avalon?
98.6.
You got that right. One more question here. Yes, go. Avalon.
Zuparade for 20.
Zuparade for 20. That's the only choice left. Teams, look at the monitor in the studio, please, for this question, if you would. Teams, this family seems to be very happy to be sitting down to a dinner of bugs. But if you look at the bugs, and I know you can't see them all that clearly, each bug seems to have a different number of legs. Some have 2, some have 3, some have 8, some have 9. To be a true bug, you should have how many legs? Avalon?
6.
6. Absolutely right. What a way to finish our game. We will be back with a wrap-up in just a moment. Don't you go away. And welcome back. We're all just out of breath here. What a great game we had here. What talent these 6 young people demonstrated. We are proud of each and every one of them. Our final tally today is Brandywine 170, Avalon 315. Congratulations to the Eagles. Ariana and Jonathan and Jamisha, congratulations. We're going to see you against Berwyn Heights. Miss Boxley, I know how proud you are. Miss Alzate and the 3 alternates back there. You guys should be smiling. Come on, let's see some teeth back there. Garen and DeAndre and Jeremiah. And I want to see some smiles over here. Brandon, no tears. You are a super captain. And Malik and Brian, you played a great game. Some of them just got faster on the buzzer there. Miss Losi, thank you for being part of our game. And I know all of those alternates back there saying, boy, am I glad we weren't out there because those guys did such a great job. The Brandywine 3, Irvin and Jamisha and Olivia, congratulations. And it is Jamari. We'll see you next time on Science School. Thanks for being with us, everybody. Bye-bye.